match committee, it's always difficult, but you've got 3 or 4 quality players who played a lot of footy last year in the senior side coming back. What's it like at match committee, either trying to fit those guys in or look at where they're at with their progression back from injury?
Yeah, it's always a challenge. You like to keep everyone happy, but there's always disappointment at match committee for someone. But there's a few of those guys that you're alluding to that have played their first game last week, so it's nice to have them. Theoretically, they could play, but they need to do a little bit more work yet. But in case of emergency, they could play. So we're still going to get through our last session. We've had a really good look at the Gold Coast. That's horses for courses. So, we'll try and get the right team balance. But we'll wait till everyone gets through the last session because it's an intense training session, and there's always an element of risk. So, once we get through, we'll assess and make a final selection, then put the team in later today.
And those ones that need an extra run, Ross, I don't think Peel play this week, so where will they get those?
We'll have to train them. There's no other Waffle team with a bye. It's not ideal, but the Waffle have done their best they can. Our later buys are matched up, but unfortunately this one doesn't quite work out, but that's okay. We've got the wherewithal to be able to train them in an intense manner and keep them fit.
And Guy McKenna's already come out and said that they're going to really use their run and try and use their run on Patterson Stadium. How do you sort of combat that?
Well, we just run hard. We're trained to run. We run hard. We go from start to finish, and it's good that they're going to ask some serious questions of us, and we'll put some questions to them as well.
And do you see any similarities in the way you two play your games? Statistically, they're very similar performances in round one. I think it was a lower clearance count, high contested possessions. Inside 50 numbers, well, yours were much higher than theirs, but they're all around the same, contested balls out the park.
Yeah, I haven't sort of thought about that too much, but I think if you've drawn some parallels, and there's some basics of the games that all teams try to be pretty good at, and when you win, you tend to do quite well in those. So we understand they're a really talented list, super talent everywhere, and really well led by some senior players, Richatelli and Ablett and those guys, and we understand there's a big challenge coming our way, but we're pretty keen to accept the challenge.
And Ryan Crowley's often said you sometimes keep him in the dark about who he's tagging on the weekend. Is there any point to that this week?
Well, the little champ, he's got that nickname for a reason. So I think Ablett's, they have pretty good battles, but obviously, Presti is in really good form. Harbrow's in really good form. Swallows kicked a few. Bernal will probably be named. So there's a few that we won't put all our energies into one player.
I think they ruled him out yesterday.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
okay, that's good. So Bernal, that's handy. So he's one that Ryan won't have to tag. But as always, we respect all, and Gary's the obvious one.
Ross, just looking back, the 2-week break, how did you find it? Was it useful in getting players freshened up after the first game? Would you think it was too long? Would you rather have kept the momentum?
Well, I haven't thought about it too much. We're paid to get it right, so we're confident we've prepared them really well. We've trained hard. Time will tell. The ultimate result is the W or the L. But certainly it was round one. We needed every minute of pre-season. We felt more cherry right when that ball was bounced. But it's a really hard surface that he had. It's a big trip in the state, so it's been nice to sort of lick our wounds a little bit. And we are fit and healthy and get some. We had plenty to improve upon, so we've been able to have good sessions to identify the things we needed to improve on, and we've trained them, and would like to see some improvement in them on the weekend.
Start? You want a better start?
Yeah, start's always good. Yeah, it's a good indicator. Yeah.
As an opposition coach analysing Gold Coast, what have you made of their progression over the past few years? And would you see them as finals?
I'm the Fremantle coach. I'm not here to talk about what Gold Coast are capable of doing, but we all know that they're a young list that have continued to mature, loaded with picks, some great experience, and and there's a reason for that. We want the expansion teams to be successful in the long run and to be given fair opportunity. So they've been given good opportunity. They seem to be working hard. At the end of the day, they're starting to win a lot of games. The competition's really even, and Gold Coast are really an important part of that even competition.
And Zach Clark, what are his chances this week?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you exactly, but he's one that first return. It'd be unlikely, but we think Jack and Aaron going quite well. The others are fit and healthy, but we're confident if we picked him, he'd be able to hold his end up.
But you'd like to probably see him train this week and possibly even another waffle game under his belt?
Well, I think, the incumbents have got the advantage. So at the end of the day, Zach's got to try and force his way in. That's the way it works. So no one's knocked on my office in the 22 and said, look, I'm happy to give my spot up for Zach. So Zach's got a bit of work to do,
You mentioned during the Collingwood game, Aaron Sandilands' dominance wasn't necessarily translating to clearance numbers, and it was getting a little bit predictable. How do you manage that on the run during games, particularly this week when he's coming up against a young ruckman and you'd think he's going to win a lot of hit-outs?
Yeah, I don't know. That's yet to be proven. Past performance is an indicator, but it's no guarantee. So Aaron's still got to compete fiercely and get his hand to it. First quarter, we were predictable and squeezed a bit. They had a really good capacity to adjust throughout the game. To in the end, we won clearances and won goals from clearances. So it's an important part. It's not the be-all and end-all, but yeah, Aaron's really experienced, and we've got enough experience in there that they need to be able to read the game and not wait for the little bloke in the green top or the old angry bloke at quarter time to come down and talk to them. I'd like them to adjust on the run, and that's part of our maturing and understanding, how to be successful. So I'm really confident that the group's learned from that and they'll be able to adjust.
Do you do any extra work on that in the last 2 weeks? Or just
Yeah, we have. We've sort of done line training, more of it, a bit more access to the players, and but nothing substitutes for the intensity of a game and opposition, physicality and pressure. So yeah, we'll get to see on the weekend.
Ross, just on the waffle, you look like you've got a few players that can do with the game this week. Under the old system, they could play waffle Rezzies. Does that still exist under this system? Can they play
No, you can't play. Yeah.
So you can't do that at all?
To be honest, I haven't bought into it too much. Chris one walks in and said, mate, they can't play, you're going to have to train them. So that's where it sits.
Last year they could play for the bottom reserves team, couldn't they, if they had a
Yeah,
player?
but unfortunately we're in 2014, so I think there's been some changes, which I think's fair enough. You don't want to destroy the fabric of, loading up, and you want to try and be fair to all parties. So I think that's fair. We've got to be mature enough and professional enough to work around it, which I think we are.
And what was your take on the first week under the Peel system, having all your players in the one basket?
Yeah, look, it was really good for us. It unloads our resources a little bit. We don't have to go around to 8 clubs, and but I think everyone's bought into that. I thought it was a really high standard game. And plenty of improvement, and our players, at the end of the day, if you train for 6-7 months of the year together, you'd like to be able to play together, and for me it's as simple as that, really. And Peel, it's been a really good alignment thus far. Both parties are really enthusiastic and a lot of mutual respect, and we understand we've got a lot of building to do, but there are some challenges, with dynamic and all those things, but it's going quite well. If both parties keep working hard at it, and I think it can be a really good thing for both parties and the waffle.